Hi, good afternoon. So, today we are doing our chicken, meatball, hummus, and tabbouleh rolls. Thank you for coming to my Atlanta United cooking class. I'm very excited to be here and to teach you guys how to do something really quick, really simple, really fun. Doesn't take a lot of time, especially when you got hungry kids waiting. So let's get started. So I've got a couple of things in front of me. I've got some mise en place bowls, I've got my cutting board, and I also have a tray that I've lined with some aluminum foil for our meatballs. Okay, so this is really great, so you don't have to worry about doing a lot of dishes, but also if you have maybe wire cooking trays that you have, you can just cover them with some foil so that your meatballs won't fall through or they don't get juice all in your oven, because we're going to put these guys right into the oven. So first, let's go ahead and put our oven on to 375, all right, for our meatballs, and get that ready to go. And then I've meased out some additional ingredients that we're going to have, because of course we're doing hummus bowls, but a lot of folks don't like hummus, and then also some of our kids don't want to do the yogurt with our meatballs. So they want to do the hummus with our meatballs, excuse me. But we're going to do a yogurt sauce, which is really great when you think about Mediterranean food. It's great for gyros, kebabs, definitely chicken meatballs. So it's another alternative to adding hummus to our bowls, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start making this jajik, okay? We're going to make a jajik. It's similar to tzatziki, but it has dill instead of mint, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife here. Really great. You want a nice chef's knife like you guys should have on your list. And I'm going to do is I'm going to open it right on up. So I usually just take my knife. Make sure you guys have washed your hands. You're going to make sure you want some nice clean hands while we're cooking. Put that guy to the side. Because we are doing, cucumbers belong in our bowls, I'm going to maybe use about a third of my cucumber for the jajik, okay? I'm just going to cut that guy right on open. I'm going to move this guy over so you can see. And see, if you look here, you have the seeds. The seeds are here. Those are very easily removed. You know, my nifty cutting board has a little space for trash, or waste, I like to call it. And you just move that guy right on out, just like that, okay? Just put 1 spoon here. Once again, we're going to go down. All right, just like that, and get that guy nice and empty, okay? But while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest so that we can get this rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. All right, so it's really fun to cook with music. So if you guys got some music in the background, please do so. Make this really fun for your family and you. Nice and easy. Look how clean that is. Just going to get that guy nice and clean, because we're going to get this guy into a dice as well. All right, so what we're doing though, and I want to talk about something briefly, is we're preparing something called mise en place, okay? So mise en place means everything in its place. So when you're talking about cooking, you want to be as organized as possible. You want to make sure you're having a good time, but you also want to make sure that you can easily transition from one portion of the dish to the next. So things that need to be refrigerated, you want to make sure you get those done early. And things that don't, you can go ahead and do that once you've already finished out. Once you've already finished out your refrigerated items. So what I'm doing now, guys, I'm just doing a nice quick bâtonnaise. So bâtonnaise is about just a nice thick dice. I don't want to get too technical with you guys. So what you guys see here is I've got my bâtonnaise lined up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a nice quick rough dice on them. Okay? Now those guys are nice and diced. I'm going to put them right into my mise en place bowl. Okay? Right in here. And we're going to get those guys nice and cleaned up. I'm going to dice them. This is just so easy, guys. Super delicious. Super healthy. 1, 2, 3, it's over. Who wants to be slaving in the kitchen after a long day? So I've got some beautiful diced cucumber here. I'm just going to go ahead and do all of this because, of course, we need it not only for the jajik, but we need it for our bowls as well. Okay, it's part of our salad. As you can see, I'm just doing a nice, easy dice. Don't worry if yours don't look exactly like mine. They don't have to. Just gonna give this guy another quick dice. It was a little at the end, so he missed out. It's all right. So then I've got some nice diced cucumber, okay? Should look just like that, guys. But with this guy, I want to get it a little bit flatter and a little smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and remove some of the innards of the cucumber, just so I can get a flatter surface to get to a smaller cut for my jajik, okay? So I'm going to do a nice thin julienne here, okay? We did bâtonnets before. I'm going to do a nice julienne. It's going to come here. Easy day, right? Easy day. Get this guy nice and smooth. I'm just going to throw this right into about 1.5 cups of yogurt. So 1.5 cups of yogurt should be good for about 4 to 5 folks, because you really just want to do a nice dabble on top. We got that lovely Publix lemon vinaigrette, so we don't want to overpower our salad, and we definitely don't want to overdress, okay? So whenever you're making salads, you don't want them to be too heavy, because once they get too heavy, it's going to weigh down your greens. It's not going to be as delicious as you anticipated, and who wants that, right? We want something super delish. So I'm still just doing the same thing, working on my jajik. Easy. What I like to do is get all of my chop work out of the way before I start handling any proteins. You definitely want to do that because you want to avoid any possible cross-contamination, okay? So that means handling raw proteins while we're working with veg, okay? Almost threw that right in there. Awesome sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and take my waste. Throw that right into my waste bowl. You see I've got lots of bowls here for all of my extra stuff. And I also like to keep a couple towels to keep my hands nice and clean. Also drying off my board as I transition from one thing to the next. We want to make it nice and easy and organized, okay? And then another thing with this dish is really simple, so it's really fun to get your ingredients out, do your mise, have some quality time with the family, and then come back and finish out dinner. But since we're rolling out with a beautiful class here where I get to teach you guys how to work with some of these ingredients, we're going to actually take it a little slower. But I've got some fresh dill here. So if you've ever had fresh dill, it's super delicious. It always adds a really lovely zing to a lot of our different dishes and salads. I actually like to take dill and put it in my salad mix whenever I'm doing chef salads or tossed salads. It's a really great ingredient. I'm just going to do a quick mince on this, guys. You see I have my hand right on top of my blade, my knife, for even distribution of weight. And also so I can have better control of my knife, okay? We're just going to do a nice, beautiful mince here of the dill. As you see, I have little ridges here in my, I don't know if you can see that, but I've got some ridges here in my cutting board. And it's sort of like little, so it's like from doing proteins and things like that. It's great for like if you have something really juicy like tomatoes. It'll run right down in there. So I usually use that. Got lots of dill in here. So then I'm going to grab a lemon, okay? Lemon is delish. You can always use lemon zest into your hummus if you want to add a little bit of extra flavor to your hummus. You can add some olive oil, a little lemon zest. That'll be a really great alternative for your hummus tabouleh bowls today. But we're just going to use a little bit of this right now, and we're going to juice it. So what I do when I juice, I just come here. I cut it right on both ends. Oops, got a little sticker there. Make sure to remove that guy. I do is I take my juicer and I turn it, because this is a fat guy. So I usually just turn that guy over just a little bit and add in some of that lovely lemon juice. Okay, nice and easy. All right. So I'm going to run over here. I'm going to go and dispose of this. Be right back. I'm going to put this over here. Take the rest of my lemon. I'm going to save that guy, okay? Save it right in one of my mies bowls, right here. Then I'm going to take and wipe off my board, okay? We're just about done with that. We're going to start prepping out our tomatoes once we're done mixing up our lovely jajik. So I also put out another special ingredient for our class, and it's going to be some olives. I really like olives, especially when we start thinking about salads and opportunities to give us an even more Mediterranean feel for our food. Olives are a great addition. So now I've just grabbed a just a regular spatula. You can have a smaller one at home, that'll do just fine, especially because we're just doing a small amount. I'm going to add a little bit of kosher salt, a little generous on it, okay, and some fresh cracked black pepper. You can add in some garlic. I tend to do that, but we're going to keep it simple today. Just going to go a little bit here and just give this guy a stir. So if you guys think about it, cucumbers have a lot of additional water. So if you've got some time and you want to do this a day ahead, you can actually take your cucumbers and like put them in a little bit of cheesecloth and just strain them out to remove some of the excess water. But we were pretty good. We had a nice ratio from yogurt to lemon juice and cucumber. So we're actually in a really good space. Give that guy a good stir. Let's give it a taste. Good chefs always taste their food, but don't double dip. It's not very nice. I'm gonna throw that guy right in there. So that's pretty good. Like I said, a little bit of roasted garlic will be awesome in this as well. So if you notice here, I've got some dishwater all set up because I like to clean as I go, okay? I'm going to get this guy, I'm going to put it right in my fridge. All right, now that that's all taken care of, I've got my cucumbers ready to go. We're going to start working with our sausage, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and move our cucumbers and put those in the fridge as well. I'm going to grab some of my other ingredients because I like to get my ingredients ready ahead of time. Remember we talked about that, doing some mise en place? We definitely want to have all that ready to roll. So, I'm going to put this right here for now. And then I'm going to prepare my pan. So, the thing you can do with chicken, because it doesn't have a lot of fat in it, okay? So, I like to add just a little bit of avocado oil to my pan. Just kind of give it a light oiling. Just in the event our meatballs get a little stubborn. So we're just going to do that just now, just a little bit. Kind of give that guy a little bit of love. It's never enough love when you're dealing with food, okay guys? So I've got my bowl here. I'm going to take my knife, and we're working with some mild Italian sausage. So you see that these guys are in casings. You don't want to leave them in their casings, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take them, We're going to run our blade right down that sausage. Okay? Put it down here. Alright. Put that there. Another way you can do it is you can take it and just squeeze it right on out. Squeeze the sausage out of the casing. Squeeze the sausage out of it. Now it has 2 holes on both ends, so don't worry. You can just take your hands and just gently squeeze. There you go. Easy day. Starting here. Squeezing out that sausage. Nice and easy. Okay. I'm going to cut mine though. It's a lot faster for me. Depends on how comfortable you are with your knife. I don't want you to be stressed out about it. I'm just doing some good old-fashioned cooking. Just going to get all those out. Make sure to not get those casings in your bowl. Not very delicious. Okay. Nice and easy. And voila. So of course, after we handle raw meat, we want to make sure that we dispose of all packaging, and we want to wash our hands. I'm going to wash my hands up. We're going to move on. I'm going to do 20 seconds on naturally for washing your hands to remove all bacteria. You can even hum the birthday song a couple of times. It works well. See, I always got some towels handy. Okay. All right. So, now, you can add a little bit of salt and pepper in here. Not much because we are dealing with sausage. So you just want to add just a drizzle of salt and some cracked black pepper. Alright, we're going to drizzle in a little bit of avocado oil. Because we did point out that chicken doesn't have a lot of fat, so you want to get in there with a little bit of love. Okay? Now, I'm going to come over here and grab my panko. So what I've done is I've taken some of my panko and I put it in here in one of my mise en place bowls. So I'm just going to add in our panko right on your recipe that you have. Just add in your panko. Okay. And the great thing that you can do with this is you can also add in some fresh herbs, okay? You can put in some oregano, some tarragon, a little bit of parsley, something to add a little bit of extra green to it. Also add some really wonderful flavor, and it'll be really delish. So now we're just going to get in here and we're just going to mix this together. I mean, how great is it that Publix decided to give us all this wonderful food for a really fresh and delicious meal? Let's get in there real good. Get it nice and mixed up. Italian sausages are already seasoned, so you don't need a lot of work to them, you know? Just got to give them just a little bit of love. Alright, so once you pat your meat, so it should be nice and mixed up, guys. If you pat your meat and you see that it's not coming loose, and you mean you've got it really tight by the beat. And once your meat is nice and tight, you can go ahead and roll some really lovely meatballs. So what we're going to do is you have a baby scoop, you can use that, but I'm going to use my hands because I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll these guys up. Look how lovely. Right? Just gonna throw them right on our cooking board. Right on our sheet tray. Nice and easy. You can always throw in another egg. Binding agents are really great when you're doing meatballs. I usually like to add in some onions and things of that sort, but we're going to keep it simple today. Just going to keep on rolling until all our meatballs are ready to go and ready to go on the sheet tray. These could be actually just a little tighter. So I'm going to add in just a little bit more. My panko. Mine were loose. Just a bit. I want our meatballs to be nice and tight. My first one was really good, but we had to make some adjustments. Alright. Let's check now. Pretty good. And I like my meatballs pretty large and in charge, but you can do some smaller ones, especially if you got lots of hungry babies around. You wanna spread the wealth. Just gonna knock these guys out real quick, and you can see they're really easy now. Now, the tighter they are, the better you can handle the protein. Okay, whether you're doing beef meatballs or lamb, chicken. You want to get them right in the middle of your hands, almost like the palms here. Get some heat on it. Starts to really form that meatball while kind of rub your hands together with the meatball right in the center of your hands, okay? Get some nice, beautiful, tight, consistent meatballs. Everybody's just about the same. And you can eyeball it and you'll do really well. I got confidence in you guys. Alright, we're just about ready here. Got about 2 more meatballs here. I'm going to adjust my tray. Tighten those guys up just a bit. And once those meatballs get a little heat on them, it seems like they always get a little bit more, they get tighter. You know, we get our hands get nice and warm and give them some love. You know, I'm all about that. Just make sure we got enough room for them to get some caramelization. Get that get that Maillard reaction rolling, which means caramelizing. All right, our meatballs are all rolled out and ready to go on the oven. Let me just put this right in the sink. Of course, we're gonna wash our hands again. No cross-contamination, guys. That's the key. Clean cooking. And this is so easy that we don't really feel like we gotta rush, right? It's a really great recipe. Nice, quick weekday meal for our family. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pop these guys right into the oven. And while we're doing that and while they're cooking, we're gonna go ahead and finish out the rest of our meats for our tabouleh bowls. Got it right. Awesome sauce. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna wash my knife. quick wipe down my board, which is always for me. You want to make that a habit. You want to always cook in a nice, clean, organized space. Okay? Okay. So now that that's done, what we're going to do now is we're going to prep out our tomatoes. And we're just going to do a nice quick half on those guys. We don't need to do a lot to them. They're already ready to go. But I have already washed mine. I always wash them right into the container because if you notice, they've got that nice little drain thing here. So what I do is I open it up, and I pour in water, and I wash my tomatoes, and then I close this back up, and I let it drain out. You see here, there's always those little drain things here. And that way your tomatoes are clean, but they're not falling all over your sink. So I've done that, and if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that now, and I'll hold off for you for a second. While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and wash out one of my meat bowls. Alright, I'm going to dry this guy out. At this point, your tomatoes should be nice and clean and drained. What we're going to do is we're going to come here. We're going to take this little guys here, and we're just going to run our knife straight through it. Okay? I'm going to do it again. Straight through the tomato, just like that, little halves. Okay? Just going to do this a couple more times. Of course, we're doing our recipe to feed about 4 folks. Just run our blade. Just keep our hands on either side of the tomato. Running our blade straight through. Just like that. Okay. Throw that guy right in there. Put that right there. Alright, so I know that we talked about how easy it is to add to these tabbouleh bowls, and let's get a little bit more in depth with that. So I told you I love olives. Olives, olives, olives. So what I'm going to do with these dudes is I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to just dip out a couple of these guys. Okay, I'm just going to take some. I'm going to drain them a bit, and I'm going to put them over here on my little board here. It has a little niche here for any kind of things that's saucier. Just a little bit doused in liquid. Okay. And I'm going to take this. I'm going to half them first. Put that guy to the side. You can also roast your tomatoes, which would be really lovely in this. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to mince them. Okay? Now I have a food processor that I usually use, but we're going to do everything by hand today because I want you guys to see exactly what it is that I'm doing. Let me move these bowls out of the way as well. So as you can see, I'm using my typical chopping technique, back and forth, hand on top for even distribution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hummus that we have, and I'm going to make an olive infused hummus, okay? Okay. If you notice, I saved my lemon juice. I'm going to incorporate that right inside, okay? All right. great thing of being at home, I have all the meatballs I could possibly ever want. So I'm going to switch this guy out and put that right there. And then I'm going to add my nice minced olive. So delicious. Use Niçoise, Callum olive. Even if you have green, those are lovely. And a nice little pop to your hummus. Get that guy wiped down. So I don't want you to get your greens and do any mixing right up now because we don't want our greens to get moist or mushy and disgusting. We want them to be nice and fresh, okay? So I'm going to go into my fridge and grab my hummus. Of course, Publix has been so grateful to give us their classic hummus, which is really nice. Let me give this guy a quick open up. Let's pull this up. It's my first time having this, so I'm going to give it a taste. We're at home, what do? We taste our food, right? Okay, so it's pretty good. Just going to add in some of this. And then I'm going to take some of my lemon juice that I had. I'm also going to put a little olive oil in here. Just squeeze that right in, okay? Use that guy to stir it up. No need in dirtying up a whole bunch of dishes, especially when we've got kids running around. Throw that right back in the fridge. Be right with you. Then I'm going to come over here and grab us a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. It's really great to have in the house. It's really great for finishing. I like to cook with it as well. Just going to drizzle about a teaspoon in that guy. That guy right here. Just going to give it a good stir. Just stirring it up, stirring it up, stirring it up. That's lovely. I'm throwing a little bit of dill in this guy. How about that, right? Let's give it a taste. That is lovely. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. And then we've got, so we've taken the same amount of ingredients that Publix gave us. Really lovely hummus, something you don't have to make at home. But you still made it your own, right? You can add some roasted tomatoes, a little bit of jalapeno, maybe even some roasted red pepper. It'd be super lovely. So I've got that ready to go. Perfect. So I've just taken a simple hummus and I've made it a little bit more sophisticated by adding in some chopped olive and a little bit of kosher salt and olive oil. Very simple, and some lemon juice. Very simple, guys. Wow, those guests at home. Heck, even if it's just your family. How about that? Show off those culinary skills you got. So guys, if you haven't already, let's take this time to just kind of get ourselves organized to finish up our dinner. I'll bring this over here. Do a quick shake. I'm going to wipe down my surfaces. You want to clean as you go. That is the key to being ready for dinner. Not just by cooking, but also by making sure that our kitchen is clean and that we're working as organized as possible. And organization means cleanliness. So while we're waiting on our meatballs, I am going to put this away. my meats, get all of my meats ready to go, lined up, so we can finish out our dish. If you notice in your baskets, you had some feta cheese, and you also have these really crunchy chickpeas. They're really lovely Bombay spice. You can keep them whole, but another way that you can put them in so they blend very well into your dish is you can take them my morel and pestle has gotten a little hot. And grind them up a bit. I like to do it because it looks nice. But they're perfect cold. My morel and pestle is steaming hot. Welcome to my home. Just going to do a couple here just so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the difference. And just imagine sprinkling that over that delicious bowl. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Kind of blends very well with all the rest of your ingredients by just having the whole chickpeas. Kind of use this, guys, as like a little bit of a crouton crunch. You know, I also like to roast off some extra quinoa. So if you've got extra quinoa at home, you can just put that in the oven and get it nice and toasty, and it's great for finishing up salads. And also for, like, you know, nice little Mediterranean bowls like we're doing today. I got my morel and pestle, just kind of giving these guys a little bit of a handle. What I always say, giving them some love, right? Put these guys back here. Hey, and don't be afraid to have a little bit of wine while we're cooking. A little wine for the dish, wine for you. Have some fun. The kitchen is the best place to be, especially for family time. All right. So I'm just going to get what I need of my feta. You don't really need to keep all your ingredients out. You want to kind of get what you need, mise en place. That way, when it's time to construct our bowls, we've got everything we need. I'm just going to take about a quarter of this right in. Right back in my fridge. All right, so look here. We've got all our mise en place lined up and ready to go. You can also add in some red onion to this as well. It's a really lovely addition to this bowl. I happen to be a huge fan of red onions, so I pretty much put them in everything. So we've got this really lovely spring mix. You can put in some kale and arugula, lots of different things. You can use straight kale, which is really lovely for good seafoods. I like to put all this in here because, of course, you've got 4 folks. This is a salad. We don't want to be stingy. I want to give this a real nice check out as well. You want to make sure your greens really go in case you might have to pick out a couple wilks. Let's check on our meatballs. Coming along really well. Should be done in a couple of minutes. I'm going to say we're going to give those meatballs a good 5 more minutes and then we'll be ready to continue. Build out those lovely bowls. So this will be a great time to get your vinaigrette out. Get our tabouleh out. Oopsie daisies. And if you haven't had quinoa before, you're in for a treat today. Of course, we're working with the Publix quinoa, which has some dried cranberries in it, which I think is a really great addition. I like to use dates in mine if I want to add a little bit of a sweet texture. I like to add in a little bit of dates, maybe even some cashew. And this also has chickpeas in it and spinach. So you get quite a bit of greens in here. Okay, so we don't have to be some edamame. So we don't have to add a lot of that into our salad. So you've tasted everything. Everything's ready to roll. Let's get ready to compose. By the time our meatballs come out, so I've got my nice bowl here. Okay. I've got my greens in my bowl. I'm going to give my dressing a shake. Most vinaigrettes like to separate. Okay. As you can see, I've got my bowls. My greens are in here. And what I always like to teach my students is open this guy up. You want to start with a slight pour around the bowl. Okay, around the bowl. We don't want a lot of vinaigrette. Okay, a little vinaigrette goes a very long way. We're going to season this guy up. A little bit of kosher salt, a couple of dashes of that. Come over here with some nice cracked black pepper. Okay. Easy day. We're going to get our hands in there and give it a nice good toss. Don't be afraid of your food. Got to put your hands in there. Nice and easy. And it should be very lightly tossed. It should be just enough to coat the greens, okay? We don't want a lot. Want to be able to taste everything in our bowl, so we don't want to overdress. All right, so that's nice and dressed. Just got a quick wash. We wash as we go. Now, if we were in our, especially when we're at home, we don't want to have a lot of dishes. We don't want to have a lot of dishes when it's time to feed the fam. So you definitely want to make sure that you wash as you go, you clean as you go. You throw away all those things that you don't need anymore. Get those guys in the trash. That way, while one thing is working, you're still working as well. So, we've got our tabouleh. I've set that right here. And then our lemon vinaigrette we're done with. Now you can also put some on the table if your family wants to add a little bit more, but with the tzatziki, it's going to be a really great opportunity to not add any more additional vinaigrettes or oils. I'm going to add in just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in that tzatziki. I'm going to dash the salt in there too because I really thought I could have used a little more. As it rests in the refrigerator, it kind of thicken up just a tad. Okay. All right. Be back in 1 minute. Hey guys, so our chicken meatballs are just about to come out of the oven, and I've got some ciabatta here. So I like, if you don't already have pita at home, but you've got like some baguettes at home that you've had, I like to take some and just do some little crostinis. Okay, something to add a little bit of to your meal. So what I have here is a nice regular saute pan, and I've just put just a little bit of avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil, I should say, right into a pan. You want to get nice and hot. Okay. And so what you're going to do, you're going to drop those guys right inside. Okay, just like that. Just want to drop them and get them nice and toasty. So the thing is, you're going to do a slight fry on the bread. Okay. So you want to make sure you got enough olive oil in there for both sides, or avocado oil, whichever oil of your choice. Finishing up this meal. And while that fries, I'm going to go ahead and take out our meatballs. Look at those guys, lovely and brown. So you want to cook those guys for about 15-20 minutes. Okay, that should be ready to go. We're going to let those guys rest while we cook our bread. So it's really important that we let our proteins rest when they come out of the oven, okay? Let me grab my tongs. Just going to flip that guy over. Look at that. Look at those guys. Look how beautiful and brown. Nice toast on both sides. And this is awesome because you don't have a lot of carbohydrates rolling in with this. Right? You want to, especially when your activity is limited now that we are not up to our regular routines. We're limiting our activities, so we definitely want to make sure we're not consuming the same amount of carbohydrates, really concentrated sugars, all that kind of jazz. Alright, so this guy's just about done. Look at that. Look at that beautiful brown. Just a nice crispy crostini right on our skillet. Alright, so let's build out. So, you want to take a nice portion of those greens. You just want to push it right in the middle of our bowl. Alright, I like to keep the greens in the center, just so we don't overcrowd our bowl. Okay? Alright, give some space for all those lovely ingredients that we have. Put this guy to the side. Turn that guy off. Then we're going to come with our tomatoes. We're going to just pile them up right in our bowl, picking a beautiful section. It's up to you. Then we're going to go with our feta. Be a little generous on it, guys. Don't be. Alright. We're going to come with our tabouleh. I'm going to put that on the side. Here. Alright. Still working. Get our cucumbers out. It's going to be a generous amount of cucumbers there as well. All right. Got all that ready to go. Then we're going to get our meatballs. I'm going to do about 3 meatballs, 3 to 4, depending on how hungry you are. And put those right on the side there. Kind of centering them out a little bit, just so you have room for your hummus and tzatziki. All right, here we go. Then we're going to come here. I'm going to get a nice large spoon and put a nice amount right in the center of our bowl. Okay, quick bite. I'm going to come here. Drizzle a little bit of that lovely tzatziki right there. Those lovely Mediterranean meatballs. Then we're going to come here and take some of those chickpeas and just kind of sprinkle them around the bowl. So you kind of see why I decided to utilize and crunch those guys up, because they kind of get a little bit, give it some dirt, some garnish, a little bit of love. And then I'm going to come over here and grab one of my beautiful pieces of toast here. I'm going to cut it in a diagonal, kind of place it right there on my bowl. So guys, not only do we have a delicious and healthy meal, we've got a lovely meatball, hummus, and tabouleh roll made with all the love we possibly can at home, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm so happy to have taught this class to you guys, and I hope to do one in the future. Thanks. Bye. Enjoy. Enjoy.